Hey sneak peekers, Jillian Malone here at Fantastic Fest for the premiere of Bone Tomahawk. We got to talk with the director and a few of the cast members. Stick around, you don't want to miss this. Well, I was reading on Twitter before this, and it seemed like fans everywhere were really excited.
I've never been once, so...
You haven't been on Twitter?
No, my girlfriend showed me Twitter for a brief moment. I said, I'm not really sure what it's for, so I'm a little behind the times, but I'm writing Westerns, so...
Get on there. They're saying nice things about you. Compliment.
That's nice to hear. I hope they enjoy it.
And I've heard, so I was reading on Twitter and I saw some things about a particular kill scene that people are excited for. They said that really gets it. Can you give us any insight on that and how the creature?
I certainly wouldn't like to spoil any of the details there, but it's when I write violence, I'm trying to surprise myself. So I grew up as a child of Fangoria, and I'm really into the micro-budget, like indie horror scene, particularly stuff by Brian Paulin. And so I wanted to have the moments of violence in this unique to this movie. So not just someone shot in the head and falls down, but something you would remember. And then as a writer, when I write each day, I'm trying to surprise myself. So that's a result of me really overachieving and surprising myself and trying to give the audience something that they're going to remember.
What Craig did with his script, Craig Zahler, our writer and our director, is, you hear a lot of he combined genres. I mean, I think there's when you think about some of the great Westerns that have a very simple stories, right? It's usually a very tried and true. There's not a ton of, the plot is very streamlined, and we have that in spades. We have a very similar drive, but when you have sort of we get into what we call like the horror subgenre. I think there's a brutality in Westerns that lends itself pretty well in this film to get into the horror genre. So I think there's a violence that's pretty equal in a lot of, because when I think of sort of great Westerns, there is kind of a very sort of raw violence, So to me, this movie has that and pushes it.
Well, yeah, it might scare you a little bit, but it's not supernatural. It's the script. It's a fabulous script. It's not what you think it is. If you think it's a horror movie, it's not what you think it is. It's a beautifully written journey of four men on this rescue mission, and it's like The Searchers, which is a great John Ford movie, a Western. So it's an interesting movie.
And you have been in some pretty scary movies before, I'll say, some thrillers. How does this one compare? Should we be expected to get a little tense when we're watching it?
Well, I don't fight any ghosts, I don't get possessed, so I'm just trying to save my wife. Like any movie that pushes the boundaries, there's a couple scenes in here that you've never seen on screen, and that's exciting when you're part of that. There's a few things that my wife certainly walked away and almost threw up, so.
Oh no.
There's that.
At UT, we're all into the cowboy type Western thing. We got our boots on every game.
Yes.
What was it like for you to come into that role, an old Western role?
Well, my first film that I did, my first feature was The Alamo that we shot here, playing Colonel Travis. So for me, I learned pretty quickly how much it meant to Texas and how much it meant to Austin. So I roll pretty deep with wanting to be a cowboy to get back into it. So, like any good boots, felt pretty good hopping back into it.